Welcome, everybody. Thanks for taking your time on this client motivational and how to keep your clients focused. This is going to be a two-part. I'm going to touch on what I've done in the past when I've worked successfully well to keep my clients focused. So we're going to have another webinar on this. But today, I am going to present to you what works. I really don't see any of you right now. I'm not hearing anything, but if you have questions or anything like that, I'm sure we'll have some time for this. So I think it's very easy to argue that we have an amazing program. We cover pretty much under one umbrella on the Anatomy of Simply for Life, pretty much every angle we can possibly think, from good food, easy recipe, good recipes, breathing, nutrition, accountability. But what is it that you can do to keep your clients focused and motivated to keep coming and coming? And not only that, that's one thing to keep the client coming, but what is it that keeps them motivated? So the first thing I think that we should look is we've tried many times in the past offer client incentive. And we did cash reward. Sometimes we had prize. I remember in 2002, 2003, we were offering prize to Disney World, a mountain bike to be won, $1,000 cash prize. And there was not a whole lot of research back then, but we were noticing that those cash incentives were really not dominant into motivating our clients. Even though I had a large follow-up of clients over the years, so you always have those that you're trying to, captivate, plant that seed, what to do next to motivate them and to keep them focused. And to be honest with you, science, but we find out this many ways, incentive just don't work for 75% of the population. So we start thinking about what if we offer them a membership incentive. Things like we'll give you 2 months if you reach your goal by the 1st of June. If you lose 50 pounds by X amount of time, we'll give you 6 months membership. This also has really failed big time with us. We've offered also sponsorship. It's failed with us. One thing that seems to captivate a little bit more is when the client knows that at the end of their journey they can become a member for life for free. But I think that's a whole different element itself, because this is about creating a relationship, working with the client, and bringing them from point A to point B. And as you guys seen, there's all sorts of charts, but many years ago I put a chart that I didn't do myself, but I really like, because from point A to point B had all kinds of zigzag. So here's 3 factors for clients, I think, to like you. I think it's very important that if you want to motivate your clients, you got to get them to like you. If you don't have a relationship, and I've been always a true and a very, very straight component that the ultimate client comes from having an amazing relationship with them. And yes, I know some of you, just like myself, you'll have those clients you really don't have a relationship. But what is it that makes them like you or trust you? Number one, build trust. Come on, couldn't put that word there. But build trust in something that you guys have in common. For example, I go through great lengths when a client comes over here to find out what they're like or dislike. If they like cooking Indian food, and that's something that we have now in common. We talk more about Indian food. If the client likes hockey, I'm not really a hockey fan, to be honest, but if it happens that he likes doing weight-bearing exercise, it's something we have in common, we can talk more. If the client's into mind-body interaction, if the client is into spiritual well-being. So these are keys that actually I can relate to and have great conversation, and the client will relate to me. That gives them a sense of trust, and they start liking me much better. Another thing too, because if you have nothing in common with your clients, it's pretty hard for them to really form a relationship or feel that they have a sense of looking forward to come and see you and liking you because you have nothing in common. Second thing, compliment your client. Be absolutely natural about this. You got to be careful what kind of compliment you give. But, simple things like, oh, geez, I like your hair today. Those are really nice boots. I love your purse. Look for something on the client you can compliment them. That goes a really, really long way. It's those simple gestures that will get your clients to like you. You get them to like you first, you can get to be motivated, and you can get them to stay focused. So compliments. Don't compliment if they have a yellow jacket that's giving you sore eyes because it's so flashy. Be sincere about this. You say, oh, geez, you're looking better today. It looks like you had a lot of sleep this week. You look energetic. I really enjoy your visit. I was looking forward to seeing you. You and I have a great relationship here. These are little things that they like to hear because more and more we've lost this essential ways of making people feel good about themselves. We hardly compliment people anymore. I think it's a very, very small gesture and it goes a very long way. And third is meeting the clients where they are. I can't say enough. You'll have clients, and we'll talk more about this, and we'll spend a little bit more time on the motivational wave. But meeting the clients where they are. You'll have clients that'll come over, and I think that the meeting clients where they are should happen on the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th weeks because the first, second, or third weeks, it's very hard to judge where they are. They come and they seem very motivated. Maybe it's because their friend told them that they have to come and see you, try Simply for Life, or it's a challenge going on at the office. So the client comes in, they think they're very motivated, they'll tell you they'll stop drinking, they measure their food, they want to lose weight, change their lifestyle, feel better, they're going to sleep better, reduce their stress. And sitting in front of you, you've heard many times, looks like you have the perfect client. But reality kicks in, they get their meal plan, they get to have a sense of, okay, the injection of time they'll put in. I have to commit to going to do the groceries, I got to clean my cupboards, my schedule a little busier than anticipated, I don't have time to exercise. And it's really after 3 or 4 weeks, I find it's the best time to meet my clients where they are. Because if I set goals with them on the first week or two, and we'll talk about this listening more, it can cause me more traps and actually more work. So we know under the umbrella of Simply for Life, we have a slew of tools we can give them to start. So I always sail with that. I slightly instruct them about the program. I tell them about the food journal. I tell them about their meal plan if they have any questions, so forth, so on. But I only meet them where they're at on the 4th and 5th week. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And this, I stand by this. What your client wants the most is for you to be listening for them and listening in the moment. I think that it's a lost art, and we crave this, including myself, everybody that I know. We want to be listened to. And many times, either in consulting, and I've learned this from Anthony Robbins. You can Google his website. Tony Robbins is a world-renowned speaker. But many times, someone's speaking, and you're not listening. You're just trying to cut off and tell what you have to say. I truly, truly pay attention to listening to my clients. And it's those little details. And sometimes, and I'm sure most of you have experienced this, you will find out everything that you need to know about your clients within the first 4 minutes. And we've talked about this many times at AGM. The clients will sit, and I just tell them, how was your week? Tell me about your week. Tell me about yourself. And if they really have a sense that you're there to listen, you'll know everything that needs to be done and everything that you need to emphasize on how to motivate and how to inspire this client. It's absolutely important that it's critical, that you pay attention. every consultation room, you'd be amazing how many times I spend 80% of my consultation time listening to my clients. Most of you see me talking when we do our AGM. I'm just yap, we talk, and Clinton does most of that now. But needless, you need to know that in my consultation room, it's not that I don't talk. I talk, but when I talk, it's because it's the feedback that I feel is the essence of giving back to my clients to what they've just elaborated or just told me. And this is probably one of the missing link and the most important key to really create a fundamental relationship with your client that can be sustained for a very, very, very long time. And when I'm listening in the moment, I've told you that many times before, I take notes, but when I'm listening in the moment, I actually retain most of what they say because you're not distracted by who's coming in for next client. You're not distracted by what is your next thing you're going to tell your clients. So really be in a moment and take some notes, because when the client comes in the following week, it's a very powerful thing. If you want to motivate them, you want to inspire them, remind them of what you talked about last week. And for most of you, you'll be surprised because, for example, I'll name Carol. And Carol's a really great client of mine. And this happened last week. I said, all right, Carol, what did we talk 2 weeks ago before I left for Costa Rica? She was like, oh, my God. You remember? I said, yes. What is it? I said, I can't remember. I said, well, I really want you to make an effort because it was absolutely important. Just happens that Carol opened up to me and she says, you know what? I'm my own worst enemy. You hear this all the time. I do so great at work, Bruce. I do so great in front of people, but at home, I'm a closet eater. So I said, well, perfect. Number one goal this week, I want you to eliminate everything that's in your closet that basically can get you to gravitate there to have some nibble or food, so forth, so on. And she did it. She did clean her cupboard. She said, oh, yes, I meant to tell you this. I forgot. I'm no longer nibbling at night because there's nothing. And I just don't feel like nibbling on, fruits or vegetables, anything like that. And in reality, Bruce, I'm not really hungry at night. So she really felt like you could see into her body that she was excited, energetic about it. And she was like, wow, you remember this? I said, well, of course, it's important to me because these are things that you've enabled me to factor in on how we can make this program better for you. So little details like this. You have 2 ears. Let your client talk. Sometimes I know we have clients that talk way too much, and I've given you tools on this many times, and I can repeat this. You'll have a client that come over here, and they're yappers. And I've shown everybody a trick on this, and it works all the time. But most of them are not yappers. So you want to make sure that you listen, and then you pick up on these little things that can make a significant difference on how you can basically inspire your client to be more motivated. The motivational wave. This is what I want to talk the most today because everybody's got 20,000 ideas on how to motivate clients, whether it's food incentive, money incentive. But I think the most important thing in my career, actually, and I've worked with over 15,000 people, and most other professionals out there, is that there's a motivational waves. It happens to me. It happens to professional athletes I've worked with. It happens to people fighting cancer. Happens to people who are basically on the verge of bankruptcy. Whichever segments in your life you're in, and you have challenge, you have to understand that this is part of life, unfortunately. And I don't think it's unfortunate. I think it's a good thing because you learn so much from it. But if you put that aside, the motivational waves, I've had many consultants over the years calling me or at the office coming to see me and say, Bruce, I'm so frustrated with this client. I don't know what to do. Won't bring her food journal, won't drink her water, doesn't want to exercise. Well, this is happening right now in the Maritimes. We have So much snow, it's not even funny. This is Canada after all. So our clients are really that motivated, are really not motivated. So for me, the motivational wave, it still shows about listening to your clients and meeting where they are. If a client is not motivated right now, I set very small goals. So what I'll do, I'll say, okay, well, Carol, tell me 3 things you're good at when it comes to lifestyle, and tell me 3 things, not true, I always say 5 things you're good at, and 5 things you have any weakness with. She'll say, well, I'm really good at, in the morning, to do my cardio first thing in the morning. I'm really good at preparing my food, bringing it to work, right? And then they tell you about their weakness. Or I make it, write it down, and I keep it, because this is a bartering or bargaining tool I use with my clients. But the motivational wave, what you need to know is that if you come and tell me, and you tell me that Carol is not motivated to exercise right now and you're frustrated with her, well, you really need to look at this from my angle of view, is that it's time to really pay attention and know how to push them and motivate them and keep them focused. So, reality, back in my days, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I would have told Carol, come on, Carol, you have to do it. You got a big goal this year. You want to lose 75 pounds. You want to go off blood pressure medication. You want to improve your glucose, so forth, so on. Got to get up on the exercise. She said, yeah, you're right. I got to exercise. I want you to weigh all your food. You're right. I'll weigh all my food. I want you to do food journal. Yes. And I want you to take your vitamin D3. Yes, I will. And I want you to go to bed early. It's yes, yes, yes. They agree. You get them pumped up. But as soon as they get in their car, it's short-lived, because their motivational wave right now is low. They agree with everything. The problem is next week when Carol will come, here's what you need to know and need to realize. And this not comes from my own experience. It's from a conference I've attended to. One great conference in Florida 4 years ago was all about the science of how to harness and keep your clients and keep the relationship. And there's a lot of things we're doing it. So Carol's going home. By the time she hits home, she's in a hurry. She has supper. She doesn't really feel like writing into a food journal. She watched a little bit of TV more than usual. She was supposed to be going to bed earlier, but she tells herself tomorrow morning is a new day. She gets up in the morning, does not really do her exercise, and one thing she's good at is bring her food journal or food at work, but she does not do this. All those little steps we've talked about. When she comes back the following week, Carol feels like a failure, because she feels that not only she's disappointed herself by committing to the agreement we've said, but she's disappointing me too, because she looks up to me. You do that a couple times, there's a good chance your clients will quit or not show up because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed of failure. Have you ever met anybody who's proud of failure? Very few. Entrepreneurs are part of failure because they'll tell you they learn from it. It's a great thing. So, Carol, if we retro and look back at the last consultation, here's how I'll approach it. Carol's motivational wave is very low. I know that if she goes to bed half an hour earlier, she'll feel better in the morning. These are simple gestures, and I use 3 all the time. So I'll say, well, Carol, and you want to write this down. Would it be okay? Would it be okay? 98% of humans cannot basically refuse this simple sentence. Would it be okay if you go to bed 30 minutes earlier? Yes. It's a very simple thing, very gratifying. Second thing I ask, most of the time, this time of year, we're more inside with the extreme dry, the heat inside the house, and the winter itself. I know most of my clients, sometimes it's very easy to go off the water. They're not motivated to drink water. Water is a very easy thing to motivate my client. So would it be okay that you would have 2 cups of water more a day than what you're drinking right now? She's drinking 8 cups. She's going to go to 10 cups. I'm on top of the game. She's going to nibble less. And then I would say, if you've built a relationship with your clients, if not, would it be okay that this week, every afternoon, you consume either nuts, and the one I want you to consume is walnuts for the omega-3 fats, or a good dark chocolate. It's good for the brain, makes them feel better. 3 little things. And I challenge, I said, Carol, you can try to do the 3 of them. That's all I'm asking of you this week. But if you only do 1, I'll be extremely happy next week. The difference now is that Carol's going home just as motivated, but not overwhelmed. She might be late. She might have a supper, might not write a food journal, but there's a guaranteed chance that most likely she'll go to bed half an hour earlier. I don't need to educate you on the power of sleep. Most clients, when they're sleep deprived, you see what kind of results you have. Can't lose weight. So you get half an hour of better sleep, more energy the next day, and in her mind, she's challenged to have 2 cups of water more and some nuts or dark chocolate at night. When Carol is due for her next appointment next week, she's absolutely inspired and motivated to come and see me because she wants to report to me that she's drinking more water, she's going to bed earlier, and actually she's eating her nuts and chocolate. And guess what, Bruce? My breakfast this weekend were spotless, plus I started exercising. Not every day, but I went on the treadmill 3 times. So I've seen better results with this. There's science behind this. There's actually a lot of science behind this. Tony Robbins, check it out. And Carol is motivated to come, and she's more focused. She has a sense that she did not disappoint me. These were 3 little things. And most of all, she feels like she's winning. She's winning at this battle. She's winning at the challenge she put at herself. Now, motivational wave, meet them where they are. You'll have clients that are somewhat motivated. You can read them, you get to know them by now. Those are the ones that I'll throw in, put the food journal. When they're half motivated, not demotivated, still want to do it, they're talking the language, food journal, I can't express it. I think it's a fundamental key for success. We have science now that people who write down their food journal eat 40% less calories at the end of the year. And we've seen it over and over. Our clients that write everything down, we have a much better report with them. And they gravitate and they can harness success at a much better rate. So the food journal is one place I go because it's a key component for the next conversation we're going to have at the clinic when they come over, and exercise. When the client is very motivated, the motivational wave, and by the way, you need to know this. According to studies, a top elite athlete or entrepreneur, they have 3 motivational waves per year. So there's 3 zones, and everybody's different. Depends on their motivator. The entrepreneur might be making tons of money or doing his passion that he might stay motivated longer during that year. But the wave goes down. It just doesn't hit rock bottom. The athlete, same thing, depending on the coach, the people surrounding them, their motivational wave, when it's high, it stays there, and it can be harvested for X amount of time. It goes down, but never goes all the way down. Except for Olympians that have just won a gold medal, and they no longer can participate in the Olympiads, they're retired, their motivational wave goes down. It's a totally different element. But your client needs to know that it's perfectly normal that there will be months they'll be very motivated. They push, they push, they push, they push. You can ask them to do the food journal, exercise no less than 5 times a week, because 3 or 4 times a week is just not optimal anymore. That's another conversation. 5 times a week, whether it's walking 30 minutes, going jogging for 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes of exercise. And then they'll lose their momentum. When I see they lose their momentum, I know food is key. So I always try to inspire them to stay focused on the food as long as I can. That's why, and that's when a consultant needs, again, to listen more and talk less. Because when they're losing the wave of motivation, they might exercise less, be less intense, skip here and there, start to have a drink. But the food, if I can basically make a meal plan that it's simple also. Because when they're less motivated, you'll see that they're less likely to make recipe. They're less likely to prepare food in advance. I get clients right now, they're very motivated. Sunday comes, they cook all their food for the week, and I'm sure you have them. But I also seen those clients that they're just not motivated, so they go day by day. You still can do good as long as you keep the food simple. When they lose their motivation and they see a recipe, they're not that motivated, and they know you made a meal plan and you've talked about this delicious butter chicken recipe. When they'll come next week, they feel again like a failure because we had a great conversation of this butter chicken, and now she's failed to make it. So keep it simple. Again, the motivational wave, I think it's something that you have to look into. You have to watch your clients, the body language, the food journal, and they will tell you. They will tell you where they are. And if you really let them speak, say how motivated are you? I asked them on a scale of 1 to 10. For most part, their ego is there. They'll tell you, I'm a 6, Bruce. That's great, a 6. There's so much we can do with 6. And if they tell you, I'm a 2 right now, I just don't know what to do. I don't know if I should keep doing this program. I feel like I'm wasting your money. This is a language I've used all the time. I'll say, listen, Carol, I understand where you're coming from. I've been there too. I've been in your shoes. The reality is that I want you to think about 2 things right now, because this is what I want you to think this week, and we're not going to commit to next week. A, what will you benefit on giving up on yourself? And B, are you worth it to give yourself a fighting chance to win at this? Because I think and I believe you are. Simple as that. Leave them dry like that. They come back next week, either they have a bad week, now they understand they're fighting. They're into a challenging time. You got to get them aware that it's normal. And another thing too, the weight loss industry does not tell you, and we had this at not our last conference a month ago. It was in another conference I was in Indianapolis, the Weston A. Price Conference. And it was a repeat slide that I saw many years ago. And this was done by Dr. Walter Willett from Harvard Medical School, and he's a modern day genius when it comes to nutrition. He's involved in the Birmingham study, so forth, so on. But they say that when it comes to a weight loser, if you want to talk about a perfect weight loser, there's 35 weeks per average, some it's less, some it's more, that people will basically be motivated to lose weight if you're on a 12-month program. The other weeks, you might be gaining or maintaining or just not motivated at all. I think that it's extremely important that you let your client aware of this. You let them aware of the normal, because we don't understand what's normal. Because many of them, they will know, they will remind themselves, I told Bruce that I'd be losing this amount this week, I'd be losing every week. It's not a language I use, but sometimes your clients will tell you this. But if they understand what is normal, it's a huge game changer because there's less pressure and embarrassment. And at the end of the day, if you truly want to make your clients succeed, be motivated, and be inspired, make them feel special. It's no use to remind them that they failed this week. They know about this. Find one thing you can do to inspire them. The old classic one has never, ever, ever failed me once, ever. I'll say it again. When a client comes over, and you guys heard me say this many times, I said maybe 20 times in my life. Client come over and said, Bruce, I feel like a failure. I haven't lost in 3 weeks or 2 months. I just can't get. I said, Carol, I'm so proud of you. I've been meaning to tell you this. You know why I'm proud of you? Because you are changing the way we need to do a lifestyle change. You refuse to give up on yourself. You're no quitter. And all of a sudden it inspires them. It's true, yes, I'm not giving up, Bruce, I'm not giving up. And you hear them, sooner or later they're saying, I refuse to give up. That's a very powerful word. Many people are just too easy to give up on themselves. And the same thing when a client comes over and they tell me, it's my 6th or 7th times trying to lose weight, Bruce. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. If you keep trying, you will succeed. The ones who should be embarrassed is not you, are the ones who have chronic disease, are 150 pounds overweight, and they never give it a try once. If you keep trying, you will succeed. The same analogy as people who try to stop smoking. They keep trying and trying and trying, you will succeed. And sooner or later, you're telling your story and you're inspiring other people. So make your client feel special. We all have our own lines. We all have our own ability to motivate and inspire our clients. Anytime a client comes over, I like to make them feel special, but I enjoy making them feel special. There's nothing phony about me. There's nothing fake about me. From how I greet my clients, from how I sit them down, from how I listen to them. But the key element is also how I start my consultation, because I will always ask them, tell me about yourself. How was your week? How's everything? How's the weather with you anyhow? It's like, oh my geez. 4 minutes, that's all it takes. And it's not 10 minutes. 4 minutes, they'll tell you everything you need to know. They gravitate to that. And at the same time, follow the weight. You can't basically expect a client who's not motivated right now to want to do a marathon when basically they're just not motivated to put their boots and go shovel snow right now. So you got to pay attention, because like I've been saying today, it's about making them feel better when they come over. And I'd rather have a client come over next week to report to me that they drank just 2 cups of water more this week and feel absolutely amazed about that, than having a client that we set 10 goals and are absolutely embarrassed and they feel like a failure. This lifestyle is challenging enough without reminding them that they're failing at this. We have to find key points and have to pay special attention on how to really make them feel special. And again, it starts. You can only make them feel special. You can only gravitate those little things that will make a big difference by letting you like you and trust you too. Because if the chemistry is not there, that's one thing that happens. I have clients that come over here, there's absolutely no chemistry, but they respect me and they like me, and I have to earn that. And for that, when I compliment them on something, you know, we have a lady here, I would never, ever, you can ask Patty, compliment her on her hair. She looks like one of those Florida ladies. She must use 2 cans of hairspray to do her hair. But she's so proud of her hair when she comes over here, so it's just like, geez, I can't compliment her hair. She's a client of mine on top of that. So, geez, you look energetic today. I think she gets high on her hairspray. It must be that. But regardless, she feels good. You know, I could say, well, your hair is really nice, but I'm kind of lying to her. Setting goal and inspiring your goals. Inspiring your client. So now that you got the motivational waves, now that you're setting little goals, when I set goals with my clients, I don't determine. I'll say, all right, Carol, what are your goals for this month? Let's talk about your goals. And I'd like to lose 8 pounds. Okay, well, that's fine. I understand this. But for March, what are the culprits, or she calls it culprits, but what are the basically things that sets you backwards? What are the things that we should work on that will help you have those 8 pounds gone? But I think, Carol, we should focus more on, you know, the behavior. We should focus more on outside the umbrella of just weight loss, because if we focus on those little things, they will deliver, and that will deliver is your ultimate goal for you personally, is weight loss. Myself is quality of life, feeling good, being happy, and losing weight. So what I do with my clients, and that's all of them, I said, write me down 5 goals and write me down 5 things that's basically keeping you away from those goals. Some will write down that I'm a lousy food prep. I'm just lousy at food prep. The other one will say, well, it's a weekend. I can never have just 1 glass of wine. I have to have a bottle on Friday and Saturday. But you will gain so much knowledge from your client, and not only that, it will make your practice so much easier, because instead of sitting and trying to find goals, and myself including, I sometimes in the past I would be like, oh my God, okay, well, what's the next goal? Because you can be giving a client 20,000 goals, and it's never the right goal for them. And I used to blame my clients, but I realized it was my fault. And I've learned this through naturopathic practice. So what I do with my clients, I'll say, all right, she'll write down, lousy at food prep, drink too much on the weekend, like to nibble at night. At work, I go long hours without eating, then I'm famished. So this goal, the first goal, Carol, this month, we're going to make sure that at work you have a snack and you take time to have at least dinner. Because we can't get you to go 6 or 7 hours, because we've seen what it does. By the time you drive home, you eat everything in sight, and by the time you cook supper, you nibble and touch everything you're cooking, and then you have supper again. So you're up by 1,000 calories. Not that we count calories, but sometimes number helps. So, or you'll have a client who'll say, I'm just lazy on exercising. Sometimes they're just waiting for us to inspire them or put the foot down and say, okay, I want you to start exercising. And for me, it's always been a challenge, because when I suggest my clients exercising, they're afraid I'm going to send them at the gym, because I like to go to the gym. My philosophy is move. Whether you swim, whether you do CrossFit, whether you run a marathon, I don't care, move. But find something you like. And if you don't have something you like, then I always suggest walking. So if the client says this, of course, my idea would be to get them to start exercising 5 days a week. And this has never changed, because I've learned this from Dr. Oz, when Dr. Oz was not so commercialized. And what I've learned, it makes so much sense. When I get my clients to start exercising, what I want them to do is to get a routine. Because the routine, for me, for exercise, is the most powerful thing you can have. It's habit forming and become systematic. I get up, I go to the gym, come to work. So what I will tell my clients, I want you to start exercising 3 times this week, 15 minutes. Oh yeah, that's doable. They'll say, I want to do an hour. No. Because if they do an hour, they might go to the gym after work at 4. By the time they exercise an hour, they change the shower, they get back home at 5:30, sometimes a quarter to 6. Now, because they don't have a routine, food is not ready. So they're running around like a circus, they're stressed, and this was a very unpleasant experience. Same thing for going for a walk. The following week, I get them to go to 4 to 5 times a week, 15 minutes. Then I increase that every week by 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the clients. Because slowly but surely, it sneaks up in their schedule, and it becomes a routine. When they go all berserk on exercise, they want to go to yoga, and they want to go to the gym or go walking, they're still not used to that routine. And it overbearing the schedule of preparing their food. They feel irritated. They don't see the enjoyment of this. I just don't have time for this anymore. I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. So inspire your clients by making those little footsteps. And I will guarantee you, starting them at 15 minutes a couple times per week, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, jump to 35 minutes, and getting them to gravitate to no less than 5 times a week within a year, year and a half, they'll be habit forming, will be part of their routines. So these are my tips. The reason I'm sharing those tips with you is because they've worked. I've used it over and over in everyday practice. I have clients that have been with me for 14 years. They've done everything about the program. They don't even want to be a lifetime member for free. They'd rather pay every week because we have a relationship. There was a point in time I was doing 328 clients per week when Clinton and I, we have the document to prove it. 7 days a week. We start at 7, sometimes done at 9 o'clock at night, sometimes at 10. I don't advocate this, but I've learned a thing or two. I basically eliminate most of my frustration by understanding and paying attention to my clients. Because many times I felt like a failure myself. You know, 20 years ago and 15 years ago when I started with Simply for Life, we didn't have those resources. We didn't have people who were willing to drop their ego and say, listen, I'm struggling too in Constellation. You know, I had a massive amount of followers and clients coming over, but sometimes they were dropping like flies. And it's just because I had a reputation. People were getting in and I had a wait list. But for me, what made me feel special and better is to have a client that basically wanted to come back. even if they're not losing weight, even if they're really not improving their lifestyle in those weeks, they have that relationship, they had that trust. But most of all, they didn't feel like they were a failure by coming to visit me. They knew they would learn something, and it was not just about the scale, it was about educating them, inspiring them, and listening to them. They love my clients. I'm not stupid. They love to come and see me because I'm a good listener. And I think that it's probably one of the most powerful tools I use every day with my clients, with my team here. I challenge you anytime to ask Mike, Patty, Brandy. I listen more than I talk. And you guys are probably saying, how does he do that? Because every time you meet me, I'm either on a speakerphone or in front of you at an AGM, and I have to speak. But the art of listening is probably one of the most powerful tools, I would say, that I use in my practice, because it's lost, with their technology. I'm sure you guys had conversation. It's absolutely a shame. And people, when they come over here and they have that one-person consultant, nutritional coach, or naturopath that can actually truthfully listen to them in the moment and then offer them feedback and suggestion, that's more powerful than anything else. And that's my glue to keep my clients coming over and over. And at the same time, I jazz it up with my own little tweaking of, comment them, giving good compliments, meeting them where they are, setting goals. And there's times I still put the foot down, but I only put the foot down on my clients when the motivational wave is high. When it's high, you know what? They're saying, well, I drank this weekend. No more drinking this weekend. It slow you down. Okay, I'm ready. I wouldn't do that if their motivational wave is down, because they'll feel like, geez, they're restricted. What's the point? It's not working anyhow right now. So pay attention to detail and use the motivational wave. And by any means, if you need to get in touch with me, I'd be willing to guide you to any clients you have challenged. Because a client that gives you challenge is an opportunity to learn, because you will have another clients like that. And I really think that if you're frustrated with your clients, I'm not trying to insult anybody, it might be the fact that you need to start listening a little bit more, and it will change your practice and will ease up the pressure on you. So thank you very much for joining. I have no clue who's following. I don't have my video. I don't see myself. Claudette's coming in, and she'll set my screen, and I think she can set you guys off the mute. It'd be nice if there's any questions. I thought last time with Brandy you could type in. Hey, Devin.
So everybody's getting muted off, so if somebody has any questions, you could just go ahead. We'll stay on for another few minutes.
Any questions?
That was awesome, Bruce.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you on the next one.
Well, thanks. And we'll see you on the next one.
We'll see you at the next webinar next Monday. So this is recorded, so we'll be posting it. So if anybody of your team was not able to participate, we'll see you on the page. Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you busy? So.
No.